Hi, today we're going to be debunking the myth that consuming spicy food can lead to the formation of stomach ulcers. Spicy food is a delicacy in many cultures, but the burning sensation it can bring to one's stomach and mouth after consuming has led to the belief that it can be used in the formation of stomach ulcers. The scientist that originally uncovered how these holes in the stomach formed was Barry Marshall. Barry Marshall was a medical student in the early 1980s that biopsied numerous patients' stomachs that had peptic ulcers. Within these biopsies, Barry Marshall found that there was a common bacteria, a spiral-shaped bacteria named Helicobacter pylori, that was found in each sample taken from someone with a peptic ulcer. Marshall's view on the formation of peptic ulcers was very unorthodox for his time. Most physicians in his day believed that peptic ulcers were caused by stress of the individuals who presented with them. To test the causation of the correlation Marshall had found with the bacteria, he used a biopsy of someone with a peptic ulcer and consumed a broth made with the bacteria he had found. A few weeks later, he began presenting with the symptoms of a peptic ulcer, and he determined that the cause was bacterial and not from stress. Following Marshall's discovery that the cause of peptic ulcers was bacterial and not stress, scientists raced to determine the cellular mechanisms used by H. pylori to colonize the gastrointestinal epithelia. The three mechanisms used by H. pylori to create a peptic ulcer include cell motility, the production of urease, and adhesin proteins. H. pylori uses its flagella to move away from the more acidic areas of the stomach to prevent breakdown from the strength of the stomach acid. After moving to a more favorable environment within the stomach, H. pylori uses a specific protein to bind to the inner stomach cells. After binding to the inner epithelial wall of the stomach, H. pylori secretes an enzyme called urease. Urease breaks down the urea and the stomach acid into carbon dioxide and ammonia. Carbon dioxide and ammonia are basic and create a more favorable environment for the bacteria to survive and further colonize the inner epithelia of the stomach. The pain in the upper abdominal region associated with a peptic ulcer is caused by stomach acid leaking into the perforation made by H. pylori, the immune system's response of inflammation to the bacteria, and the neuropathic pain caused by damage to nerve endings within the stomach. These symptoms can be exaggerated by the consumption of spicy food, which is likely what led to the myth that spicy food itself could cause a peptic ulcer. This is capsaicin. This is the biological molecule responsible for the taste of spice. It is an agonist for the TRPV1 receptor, which is a pain receptor located in the tongue and in the stomach. When capsaicin is consumed and available within the body, it allows the TRPV1 receptor to send an influx of calcium and sodium ions into the cell, releasing numerous neurotransmitters to give the sensation of pain. In this experiment, to understand the effects of capsaicin, researchers introduced the biological molecule within the stomachs of the participants without having them taste it. They all reported the same symptoms that many people with peptic ulcers often report, showing that the presence of TRPV1 receptors in the stomach often can lead, when exposed to capsaicin, to the same symptoms that people with peptic ulcers often present with. This strong overlap in the symptoms of those exposed just to capsaicin and those with stomach ulcers is likely what contributes to the idea that spicy food itself can cause peptic ulcer. While this myth might make you believe that capsaicin is a dangerous biological molecule that should be avoided, capsaicin actually has shown many therapeutic and remedial uses throughout biological research. It is used as a musculoskeletal remedy in creams and topical ointments. It has been used to cure the sore throats in people coming out of the operating room. It has some neuropathic and nerve pain reduction uses, and it also has shown some protective factors for certain gastrointestinal conditions. Because H. pylori is a bacterial infection, the primary method of treatment is with antibiotics. In modern medicine, one of the biggest problems we have is antibiotic resistance. It is estimated that about 4.4 billion, or about half of the world's population, has H. pylori within their gut microbiome. This has made the antibiotic fight against H. pylori very difficult. Because H. pylori is so prevalent, numerous transmission styles and variations within H. pylori itself and how it can avoid antibiotics have been evolved into and created across the globe. This Italian study exemplifies the problems with antibiotic resistance. Nearly 2,000 patients with peptic ulcers had their peptic ulcer biopsied and sampled to perform antibiotic testing on it. Various strains were identified, and nearly all of them had different resistant capabilities to different types of antibiotics. This correlation explains the likelihood of mutation with the challenges of an environment. The strains that were resistant to one set of antibiotics were more likely to be resistant than others, and some strains of H. pylori were resistant to nearly 5 different types of antibiotics. Antibiotic resistance is a large problem in the fight against H. pylori, but the bigger problem stems from the misinformation this myth spreads. If individuals believe that a diet choice could cause a peptic ulcer, then they could also believe that a diet change could remediate it. 90% of gastric cancer cases are related to an H. pylori infection. If individuals believe that they can fix this bacterial infection by themselves with a diet change, they will not be able to seek help in time to stop this from developing. While stopping smoking, decreasing alcohol consumption, and limiting over-the-counter drug use can limit your risk of a peptic ulcer, consuming spicy food has no risk. Thank you for watching.